out there. They did not stall out on their next drive, though. Ferguson hits Rafe Miller on the wide receiver screen. He gets a couple of blocks, and boy, can he run. He gets the end zone untouched. The Bengals go up 13-0 after the missed point after. Bengals in a great spot to score again. Ferguson lofts one high into the air, but it's on the wrong side of his receiver. Bryce Nelson comes down with the interception. They get credited for a touchback on that one. The Helen High defense, though, made up for that mistake as Newbro gets hung up and clobbered by Josh Goldman. Now Helena High again in a great spot to score before the half. Ferguson looking right the whole way, finds a wide open Aiden Fassbender, who tumbles over a few players into the end zone. Helena High wins this one and advances by a final score of 34. Let's start with the checklist. Student sections, full. Band lit, absolutely. Football, helmets, wrong sport, but go off, young buck. Helena boys crosstown starts now. Helena Capital flying all over the place. Braden Cook deflects the pass. Parker Johnston sends it up to him. He finds a lane, gets it up and in for two. Helena High catching bodies tonight, though. Hayden Ferguson down low, draws contact, finishes for the and one, which he would sink. He had 20 points tonight. Bruins might get charged with theft after the first half. Malachi Sivrud gets the deflection. Cook to Sivrud to Bridger Grovum, who finishes hard to the basket. Okay, they're definitely going to get charged with theft. Sivrud wants some points for himself, gets the steal and the bucket, but called Dexter Tedesco butter because he was on a roll, sinks the wide open three. He had 11 points on the night, and then again in the same spot. You can't leave him alone for a second. Clock winding down now in the first half. Few ticks left. Sivrud at the buzzer. Got it. Capital led at the half, 28-24. Let's head to the second half now. Helena High within two. Ferguson with the acrobatic lay-in to tie it up at 38 all. Now Capital looking to build a lead late. Parker Johnston short, but why get two when you can get three? Cook, you betcha. He had 16 points tonight. Now late in the fourth quarter, Capital starting to extend. Trevor Swanson draws the contact, gets the bucket, and Capital pulls off the crosstown sweep. The boys win this one by a final score of 56-43.
Sledge hockey is the ultimate in an inclusive activity, because when you look out on the ice and you see a dozen people skating in sleds, you can't tell who has a disability and who doesn't.
Finding a competitive sport can be both expensive and an opportunity not readily available for those with physical disabilities, which is why the Montana Independent Living Project created their adaptive ice skating program, so that everyone has an opportunity to get out on the ice. And for those who want a bit more competition, they've also introduced the Helena Miners sledge hockey team. Every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Helena Ice Arena, anyone, whether they have a physical disability or they're able-bodied, can pop by, borrow some gear, and get out on the ice. Joel Peden, advocacy coordinator for the Montana Independent Living Project, said the idea behind bringing ice skating and sledge hockey to Helena was to create that opportunity for everyone.
Sledge hockey is the ultimate in an inclusive activity, because when you look out on the ice and you see a dozen people skating in sleds, you can't tell who has a disability and who doesn't. And that's the ultimate goal, is everybody's equal.
Jeff Swenson has been playing sledge hockey on and off for the last few years, and prior to that he had tried biking. And while he said it was fun, it didn't have exactly what he wanted, what he got out of sledge hockey.
I enjoy this a lot more. It's a lot more fun. There's no competition in biking, really. Racing straight, that's, yeah, whatever. I like going in circles and stuff and playing with the puck.
They can get out on the ice and compete, be with a group of friends, and get some great exercise in as well. And that competition, right? That competitive drive that people have to be part of a team.
For anyone who's interested in trying out sledge hockey but are worried about the cost, that's another barrier the Montana Independent Living Project has lifted. The sledge hockey program is free to try and the gear is free to borrow. And if you like it, Peden says they plan to keep it running for years to come.
Our plan is it's here to stay. So it's not just a one-year deal. You know, we'll be back again in the fall, next fall. But for this current season here, we're going to go from now until till take the ice away from us.
Now, for some, roller skating may be a leisure activity, but for the Hells Bells, a flat track roller derby team from Helena, lacing up a pair of skates opens up a rough and tumble world which they take on head first, and do so with a group of women they call family.
I've met people that have been in it for years, even they retired and then came back years later. So it's like a good pair of socks.
Roller derby is in a league of its own. A rough and rowdy sport that pits women on roller skates against each other in a physical battle of wits. And the camaraderie found amongst these skaters is, to many, like a family. Or a good pair of socks.
I mean, we have like such a wide array of different people on our team. Like we have a second grade teacher, and then we have a whole bunch of state workers, which could say something for state workers. But then we have just all kinds of different personalities that comes into derby. And I think the reason the family sticks with it is because you find you're weird.
Those skaters come from various backgrounds. According to Shirley, whose derby name is Shirley Temper, skaters seem to have one thing in common.
Derby is kind of weird if you really get into it and you get to know the people that are in it, because they're all fantastically weird in our own strange ways. We all always felt like we'd never fit in with like the normal sports or the normal things, or we had different interests, and all of a sudden you find this group of people who were like, I really want to be tough and I want to do full contact, and it's kind of strange, and we're not angry, but we also just really like to play rough sports.
And even though the sport may be rough, head coach Christy Fortman, also known as Bambi Boozled, says that having an open line of communication with everyone is something that fosters a positive environment.
You know, it's a hard sport. And it's a huge time commitment. Like, you have to be supportive of one another, or it won't function. We've always tried to cultivate a positive vibe by just, you know, if anybody has an issue, we talk about it. Really good open communication. That's probably the best way to do it. Just being really honest and open with each other, not holding things in. And you get a lot of that out on the track.
The Hells Bells and the Electric City Roller Girls will get things rocking and rolling on Saturday at 6 at the Helena Ice Arena. Now, for more information about that, be sure to check out our story on MontanaSports.com.
I knew it was cancer already. It just was waiting for the diagnosis.
According to the CDC, approximately 5,600 Montanans are diagnosed with cancer each year. And Helena's Luke Denherter has fought the fight on 3 separate occasions, going 3-0 against cancer.
I knew it was cancer already. It just was waiting for the diagnosis.
Luke Denherter is a mentor, a friend, and a fighter. Denherter recently returned from Seattle, where he received treatment for his 3rd bout with cancer. He describes himself as Helena born and bred, a Helena Capital graduate, a Carroll College football player, and prior to his 3rd go-around with cancer, he was a defensive line coach for the Bruins freshman football team.
He's been a big part of our program. I mean, obviously coaching here, playing here, and I know he went off and played at Carroll. He's a great young man. He does a lot for the community, and, you know, volunteering, coaching at the freshman level, he means a lot to us.
Now a handful of players Denherter coached years ago are entering their senior year, and they said he not only helped them grow on the field, but also as individuals.
Freshman year, we didn't know like stances and everything, and we didn't like know really what to do as a D-line and O-line, and we just, small fry was more just get up field, and when we came to freshman, he like taught us more about it and like what to do.
He was always there for us, telling us to keep going, never give up, work hard, and that's you see him work that out in his life.
And at Helena Capital, there's a sense of camaraderie, a lifestyle, if you will. Once you're a Bruin for life. That's why the Helena Capital football team hosted a car wash for Denherter as a way to get donations to help offset the cost of his treatment. The event raised nearly $1,900 for Denherter's cause, but it was the thought that really touched him.
For them to do the car wash and just for them to reach out and do this, it's absolutely amazing to see the support.
This fall would have been Denherter's 5th season on the sidelines, and said without the support of his family, friends, and the community of Helena, his 4th season very well could have been his last. Denherter was persuaded by doctors to take this season off to let his body rest and recoup following the treatment. But next fall, he expects to be back on the sidelines as a mentor, a friend, and a fighter.
I love Helena to death, and I'm not going anywhere.
And a very heartfelt thanks to Coach Denherter for sharing his story, and we at MTN wish him all the best and look forward to seeing him back on the sidelines next season.
Think about something about weighs 1,500 pounds, something that weighs, you know, I'm 170 and the barrel's about 100, so, you know, he outweighs us by 5-6 times the amount that we are, and I mean, when he hits you, you feel it.
When most people think about rodeo clowns, most think
about a clown's act during a rodeo or having fun with the announcer, but their job isn't limited to just that. They also play a vital role in keeping bull riders safe after they get thrown off.
Think about something about weighs 1,500 pounds, something that weighs, I'm 170 and the barrel's about 100, so, he outweighs us by 5-6 times the amount that we are, and I mean, when he hits you, you feel it.
John Harrison has been a rodeo clown for nearly 20 years. About 90% of that is spent having fun with the crowd and making people laugh. The other 10% is about being an island of safety for bull riders.
He's got really nowhere to run. The bull's between him and the fence, so he'll start coming toward me. And when the bull's coming, if he's chasing him, I'll reach outside the barrel, I'll holler at the bull, I'll slap the side of the barrel, get the bull to look at me, and instead of the cowboy, and the bull usually will turn then, and then I duck down, I curl up like a cat in the back window of a car. I push against the side of the barrel, and then let the bull hit me.
Harrison says thankfully he doesn't get thrown around in what he calls the pop can that often. Sometimes if he gets lucky, he gets to clown around the entirety of the show.
Depending on the rodeo, you might go an entire weekend and never get looked at by a bull, and then there's some nights you'll get smoked 3 or 4 times. When we get to where we know the bulls too, so bulls are just like people, they all have personalities, and some bulls have the chip on their shoulder, and whenever they're in the chute, you're like, this is the guy that got me last time.
Harrison says as a clown he knows it's part of his duties to man the pop can, but it's the clowning aspect of his job where he feels like he hits his stride.
For me, the entertainment side's where it's at. I love entertaining the crowd, and everybody's got problems in their life. It don't matter what it is, financially or being married or whatever, but you can come to the rodeo here for 2 hours and get away from all the problems in your life and have fun. And when people laugh, it throws gas on my fire, and I want to do more entertaining. And when you leave there and people had fun, that's what it's about.
Harrison said despite being thrown around in the pop can from time to time, most of his injuries inside the barrel have been relatively minor.